Imagine the largest land battle ever fought. 1 million modern U.S. soldiers. Facing them, 11 million Soviet troops. Across the plains, endless columns begin to move. Thousands of tanks rolling forward. Millions of soldiers marching together. Dust clouds rising across the horizon. An army so massive, it looks like the earth itself is moving. At first glance, the outcome seems obvious, but modern warfare is about to change everything. The Soviet army was built for massive war. Wave after wave of soldiers, thousands of armored vehicles, artillery stretching across the horizon. Their strategy was simple: overwhelm the enemy with numbers, advance endlessly, break the front lines, push forward until resistance collapses. But this battlefield is different, because somewhere above the clouds, modern satellites are already watching every move. High above the battlefield, the sky begins to roar. American fighter jets rise into the air. Recon aircraft scan the plains below. And suddenly, the impossible happens. The largest army in history appears on digital maps. Every tank column, every infantry division, every supply convoy. The battlefield is fully visible, and now the first missiles are already on there. Then the battlefield explodes. Precision strikes slam into advancing Soviet columns. Fireballs erupt across the plains. Tanks burn. Vehicles scatter in every direction. But the massive army does not stop, because behind every destroyed unit, thousands more soldiers are still advancing. Wave after wave of troops pushing forward. And now the ground begins to shake again. Across the horizon, the Soviet artillery begins firing. Thousands of cannons open fire at once. The sky fills with smoke and thunder. Shells rain across the battlefield. Entire sections of land erupt in explosions. This is the firepower that defined the largest wars in history. And now, it returns. Both armies advancing. Both sides preparing for the next phase of war. From above, the battlefield looks endless. Lines of soldiers stretch across the plains. Thousands of tanks rolling through dust clouds. An army so large it fills the entire horizon. But the modern army is not fighting blindly. Every movement is tracked, every target identified. And somewhere in a distant command center, the next strike is already being prepared. Now, the battlefield begins to change. American armored units move forward. Modern tanks take positions along the ridges. Missile systems lock onto approaching targets. Across the plains, Soviet armor continues advancing. Thousands of vehicles pushing forward through dust clouds. Engines roaring across the battlefield. The distance between the two armies is shrinking fast, and the first armored clash is only moments away. Suddenly, the first tank battle begins. Missiles streak across the battlefield. Explosions tear through advancing Soviet armor. Flames rise above burning vehicles. But the Soviet advance does not stop. More tanks continue pushing forward. Hundreds of armored vehicles rolling across the plains. The battlefield becomes a storm of steel, fire, and smoke. Across the massive front line, millions of soldiers continue moving. Infantry divisions spread across the plains. Artillery shells continue raining down. The noise of war becomes overwhelming. Gunfire, explosions, engines roaring everywhere. This is no longer just a battle. It is a war on a scale the world has never seen. But the modern army still has one powerful advantage: information, satellite tracking, digital command networks, instant battlefield coordination. Instead of fighting blindly, they begin targeting key points: supply routes, fuel convoys, command vehicles. Because without coordination, even the largest army can begin to break apart. Soon, the first signs of disruption appear. Supply trucks begin burning across the battlefield. Fuel depots erupt into massive fireballs. Communication lines start collapsing. The Soviet army continues advancing, but the massive machine of war begins to slow. Coordination becomes harder, and confusion starts spreading across the battlefield. Yet the numbers are still overwhelming. Millions of Soviet soldiers remain on the battlefield. Endless waves of armor still moving forward. Across the horizon, new tank formations appear. Entire armored divisions preparing to enter the fight. Engines roaring across the plains. And suddenly the scale of the war grows even larger. Far behind the front lines, something massive is preparing to move. Entire Soviet tank armies begin advancing. Hundreds of armored vehicles forming massive columns, engines shaking the earth as they accelerate forward. The battlefield is about to change again. Because when these armored divisions arrive, the largest tank battle in history will begin. Across the battlefield, both armies prepare for the next phase. The smoke begins to clear, burning vehicles scattered across the plains. But in the distance, thousands of Soviet tanks are still approaching, an armored wave larger than anything seen before. And when those tanks reach the battlefield, this war will enter its most destructive stage yet, to be continued.